guys, I'm going to say it now. I will hold my hands up if in a couple of weeks' time I regret all that I'm about to say. I think we're slightly overreacting, if I'm being honest. I understand the frustration. I understand the points people are making. I just think this was a young side that showed a complacency and there's an inexperience in midfield, and we lost on the day. If Nketiah puts it away, which he should, we win the game. I think there are a few moments where we just lacked a bit of quality.
Yeah.
I was hearing about lack of fight, lack of this. I think there was a complacency on the ball and then maybe a complacency in terms of what it was going to take to put the ball in the back of the net. But I do think players are putting themselves about and trying. The Tavares substitution, I think it was twofold. I think it was he was having a shocker of a performance, and Arteta's got to make a statement. I get what Lee's saying, why Tavares, other players were poor. He can't sub all three at once, and then there might be an injury. He's trying to make a point. Second thing, Patino was down his side, so I think he wanted to get a bit more experience in there. I think he just saw that left-hand side as having no control. And I just think it's one of those, guys. It's just one of the... Look, I'm not saying it's good enough. I'm not saying it's good enough. I've just... and then it's a separate debate whether you think that the youth project and all this is something we should be patient for, and I get it. But I've been sold that now, and I'm going to be patient with it, at least for this season, and see where it gets us. Yeah,
I agree.
It was a shock.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're
But are you
right on what you're saying.
top four is a necessity?
No, listen, I think like you've got to take what we've got to do, Turkish, and I think we've got to take. We have got to take it game by game, week by week, month by month. That is what we're at. That's the point we're at this moment in time, because you can say we can get top four, and circumstances can happen in games and whatever like that. I mean, so I know what you're saying. We just got to for me. Let's just take it on that game set. What the FA Cup is about, right? And it's nothing to do about cup competitions. Got nothing to do with top four. Let's get that right. It's about getting through. And if Eddie gets that header, we win that game. It's as simple as that. And we go, do you know what? Crap performance, but it's all about getting through. We didn't, So the league games are completely different. So let's see what happens in the when we play Spurs. Then it's a different ball game and going on. Now, I think at the end of the day, if we don't get top four, I don't think it's just Mikel Arteta you've got to blame for this now, because there is this point of time where we're into January, right, and we have already let Maitland-Niles go, right? So we're quite happy to let players go at the beginning of the transfer window, get the players in the beginning of the transfer window. And it may not be easy to do, but you've got to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's no good going to February and we've lost 2 games, against Spurs and Burnley. They're the key games now. As everybody says, the cup games are a bonus. The key games are those 2 games. Now, if we go to Tottenham on Sunday with Coutinho and Lokonga in our midfield, that is on the owners and Edu as well as Arteta for allowing that to happen, because they've known about Partey and El Neni for months. It's not.
Yeah, they have. I agree with that.
It's not like they've got injured today and you're without them. Like, do you remember a few years ago we lost Arteta and we lost Coquelin in the midfield against West Brom, and we was short. You know what I mean? This is not like that. This they've come down and said to you in January, you've not got these 2 players. So what are you going to do about it? Are you prepared? And not only that, the transfer. The fixtures are out there. Tottenham Hotspur are in that January transfer. In that January when we're losing those players. If it was like a Burnley and a Southampton, I could see us trying to get through those games to get part of that back. But this is not that. So they've known this for a very, very long while. And I'm keen to see what they're going to do. People are even saying, oh, we're going to bring players in this week. We ain't bringing no players in this week. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? The players we're linking and looking at and all that, they're all played at the weekend. They're not coming. So you're going in with what you've got. And if that will go on and then subside listen, Partey was absolutely outstanding last week against Man City. Like, you know what I mean? Now, if he was, I'm sorry, if him and Xhaka were playing in that midfield yesterday, we would have won that game. I'll say that now, but because we would have got we'd have won the ascendancy, the midfield battle, and you've got to win your midfield battle. We didn't win the midfield battle like yesterday, and that's why we lost that game. We have got to win the midfield battle against Spurs. Now, Partey and Xhaka are better than what they've got. And that's the problem now. If we lose that midfield battle next week, we lose that game. And you can't be putting 18-year-old... And I'm not being horrible. I don't care about Lukonga. That's another mistake that he's made, because he's learning on the job. He's not good enough at this moment in time, but we know that. We know that. But I ain't going to... I'm right with James. I know what Turkish is saying.
But in the summer... Sorry, Lee, just in the summer, we signed Lukonga after we all want Basuma. And when we signed Lukonga, when I criticize that, don't be critical. It's a young player. It's a young player. We love that. We love a young player. This is why I criticize.
Yeah, we should have got someone else in at that time. I agree.
Player, and then when we get knocked out of cup competition, say it's a young player. I know this is a young player, Arsenal Football Club, but sort it out now. Stop feeding us the rhetoric every single fucking 4 years.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, couple things, just really quickly. The shortage in midfield against Forest. Smith Rowe has got a tight calf or whatever. Xhaka's got COVID. Those are two pretty big options in midfield. You could play Smith Rowe alongside Odegaard and Lukonga as a 3, or you could play Xhaka as a 2 with Lukonga, whatever. So that's he wasn't planning for that, despite all the players we've had missing.
Exactly.
Secondly, and by the way, the Maitland-Niles deal would have been sanctioned before he knew about those two players being unavailable. So, shit happens. Disappointing, but whatever. I agree we should have been more prepared, though, with incomings. On what Turkish is saying, again, I don't disagree, especially when Basuma would have come for only 10 mil more than Lukonga. So I get what you're saying. But I think I remember at the time, Lukonga came in and Xhaka was on his way out, and there was talk of Locatelli, another midfielder. What happened was, I think Arteta felt he couldn't bring in 2 starters because he already, or another starter, he already had his starters. Lukonga was there to be the backup. As by the way, he's been very good for this season. He's coming against Norwich, coming against Watford, coming against Newcastle when Partey wasn't available, and done very, very well. So actually, Lukonga has done what he's meant to have done for this season, but whatever. I get your point. Then Xhaka stays and whatever. The thing I was going to say in terms of answering your question about whether top 4 is a necessity, Turkish, and it's a completely fair question. And Arsenal standards should never be below that, and I get it. But what I'm just trying to do is apply a little bit of context. Now, Liverpool and Chelsea, we consider them 2 of the best 4 or 5 teams in Europe, have only won 12 out of 20 Premier League games this season. There's still 8 games where they've dropped points because the league is competitive. Because not everyone's... Man City are perfect. They're perfect. And everyone else has their problems. Liverpool are brilliant, but so leaky at the back. Chelsea have a very good squad, but they can't really score goals. Now, Arsenal aren't near that level, so you can imagine the problems we have. Tottenham have the manager they've got, and they look poor more often than not. United have the players they've got, and they look poor more often than not. Now, Arsenal, I think, have been somewhere in between kind of Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Spurs. I actually think we've been quite impressive at times this season. But I think in terms of whether top 4 is a necessity, I can't shake this idea that Conte could get it right. And the United players are very, very good. They don't look it at the moment, but they are very, very good. And I can't shake this sort of idea that it's still going to be very, very hard. So to say it's a necessity, yeah, maybe in terms of the wider picture and our kind of aspirations for Arsenal, I get it. But I'm still very wary of saying that, personally. So
you're saying, James, that Spurs have got a chance, not as good as us with players, but they've got a chance because they've got a better manager. That's what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying.
That is what I'm saying. What I take from that is that we're being asked to trust the process and youth and whatnot. But 2020-21 season, Chelsea decide to sack their manager halfway through. Mm-hmm. It works for them. They make top 4. This season, 21-22 season, you're telling me that, the Conte factor might play a part. Man United, the quality players, Ralph Rangnick, it might click. Now, what you're telling me here is you're trusting a process around youth and, you're trying to be fair, but at the same time, you're also saying that our process can be derailed by other teams making a big decision. That's what I'm hearing here, and I can't justify that. I can't sit here and say if we wait 3 years for this process, that Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, and City are just going to sit around and wait for us to finish off this process.
Right. So
happen.
I get it. And guys, you know, anyone who watches me regularly on AFTV knows that I have more than been shaky when it comes to this process. After Everton, I was on my way out. I was checking out of it. All I'm saying is, what if I were to quickly ask everyone now what we think Conte and Spurs will do over the next 2 years? I might be wrong, but I think we'd all say probably get in the top 4, maybe win a trophy, but that's kind of as far as it will go. He'll fall out with Levy at some point. The players are aging, but they're kind of in their pomp now, the Kanes and the Sons of this world, whatever. You look at Man United, what could that group of players achieve right now? Yeah, maybe top 4, maybe a cup or whatever. I believe, from what I saw in that City performance, from the way I keep seeing these young players bounce back for Arteta, when I thought Everton, I said knockout punch. Those are the words I used. That was a knockout punch for Arteta, and it wasn't. I can't believe he's still bloody standing after that, and he was. Not only that, he came back with probably his best month as an Arsenal manager in terms of results after that and performances. I believe Tottenham and Man United, by signing the players they've signed, bringing the manager they've signed, they've made that level more attainable than Arsenal. There. But I think Arsenal are trying to go for something where we go, yeah, cool, you get there in the next 2 years or whatever, but that's not actually good enough for us. We're hoping the next 3 or 4, as you're going there, we start to come above you. You go through your problems with Conte after, you go through your, you know, you hear all this, Ronaldo's not happy with this and Varane's not fit in or whatever. And Arsenal are just buying their time to eventually get to the very top. Now, I know that sounds crazy to people, but we've got the youngsters with that potential. We've maybe got a manager with that potential.
But James,
maybe it take a bit longer.
If it sounds crazy, it's not fair, bro, though, man. After 10 plus years of nonsense, you can't give me something crazy. You can't do it. It's not fair. Saka's not going to stick around for something crazy. Modern day football, look at Ajax, look at Monaco, look at Dortmund. They've had great young teams over the last 10 years, but as soon as they start getting close to achieving something, as soon as they make a semi-final in the Champions League, their team gets torn to shreds. I haven't seen a team built like the way we're building a team at the moment in modern day football. They're asking me to believe in something I haven't seen done. Not just I haven't seen done, but you're giving me a manager that hasn't done it at all and saying believe.
Turkish, I really do get what you're saying, but I do believe there is something there when I see us walk for 60, 70 minutes, play Man City off the park.
I agree, Lee. But
as a player, if I was a player like Smith Rowe, and this is what I'm really being honest with, if I was Smith Rowe or Saka at this moment in time, I would look at it and think, if Arsenal can show me a bit of ambition, I'll rather stay here because I don't want to end up like Jack Grealish or a Mahrez or someone like that that's a bit part player who was smashing the league 2 or 3 seasons ago. So I think that we've got we're at a very, very precarious place, if I'll be honest, what way to go down. Now, this is where the ambition of the owners or that comes in. Do they go out and buy a player? Now, people are saying to me, you know, go and buy this Vlahovic or whatever his name is, like, you know, but he's only 21. He's still a kid. He's still learning. He's going to, if he actually does come, he's still going to be, he's still not, you know, for me now, if you're going to bring in, say, Vlahovic or someone like, you still need Lacazette alongside to help him out. You can't go 21, 22 and expect to smash the league and all that. You know, we've got to be very, very careful what players we recruit. And I totally, James made a great point, and it is frustrating. Lukonga was brought here to be a backup midfielder to the other guys and learn his games and all that, like, you know what I mean? But ultimately now, we still need another top class midfield player. We've been saying that from really, come on, since January, since the transfer window. I don't know if Arsenal can get these deals done in January. I really don't, even though people are saying it is. But I think if they were to get 2 deals done, then we get top 4. We've got a very, very good chance of getting top 4 because what all the flaws of Tottenham and all the flaws of Man United, they've been there for 6 months now. You know, Tottenham, by the way, I ain't going to mention his name, but there's someone who we've spoken to a little earlier on today. Tottenham were woeful yesterday. Woeful with this wonderful manager against Morecambe, but they got through because they got players a little bit more experienced, but to bring on Kane, to bring on Skip and players like that. We didn't have that yesterday. For whatever reason, we didn't have those choices. I was looking at that. I said, if we go a goal down in that game yesterday, we was in trouble. I'm pretty sure we all said that. When you looked at the bench, there was nothing there. And that's because of COVID and everything that's caught us.
Yeah. Jordan, you haven't said nothing in a little while.
That's because he's bloody...
No, I mean, oh, shut up, you Lee. No, I hear the frustration. I hear what you're saying, Turkish. It's actually more than 10 years. It's 15 years.
I just make it round.
Since we've been in the mix. You were being nice. Yeah. I mean, I do lean more towards, I think, James on this one, in the sense that I'm prepared to buy into the process. But as you well said, Turkish, Will Saka, Will Martinelli. If I'm Pep Guardiola, I'm looking at a striker. Do you know what I'm looking at next season? I'm not looking at Haaland. I'm not looking at Mbappe. I'm looking at Martinelli. I think Martinelli is absolutely perfect for Manchester City. So these are things I think we have to kind of be aware of and be sure about. I mean, just so I'm clear, are you saying, Turkish, that if we don't get top 4, you think that he should go and he's failed? Just so I'm clear on what you're...
I'm saying I don't know what the hell's happened to Arsenal and Arsenal fans and everything, but look at where we are, man. We haven't got Europe, barely any games to play. We spent 150 million and we can't even go out and say we need to get top 4. I'm sorry, but if we finish 5th this season, get knocked out the FA Cup first round, and let's say we win the League Cup, that's fucking bollocks. That's another season down the drain. Because finishing 5th doesn't mean you're going to finish 2nd next year. You could go from 5th back to 9th. If I really delve into this, Jordan and James, and I really ask you, look, why do you trust this process? There is no, why did Eddie Nketiah get offered a new contract? Why did Mustafi get offered a new contract? Why did Xhaka get offered a new contract after he was about to leave the club? Why?
There are some stinkers in there.
We have some stinkers, as well as we have some good transfer window. We have some stinkers that if I ask you, do you trust this process that has included these stinkers? You'd probably shy away from it.
Turkish, 3-4 weeks ago after Everton, I was I was nearly done, nearly. I think I said everything but Arteta out. I'm not sitting here just 3-4 weeks later telling you, come on, the process. I'm just more on board with it than I was before. I'm more patient. I think I've readdressed my... Go on.
Look how upset we was when Edu didn't set a target, yeah? If we don't set targets as fans, that time will come and we'll just go over it again. So that's why I'm saying now, I never said this season top 4 is a must. I've never said that up until we got knocked out yesterday. I always said top 4 is unlikely. I said top 4 isn't in the radar for me. But as soon as we got knocked out yesterday and we are in top 4, that's me saying it's a must now, because you can't have a season out of Europe spending 150 mil, people looking at it as progress and not achieving any of the season-defining things.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
No, go on,
go on, Lee.
A defining moment, and we'll come down on Arteta at the end of the day, that 2 open goal headers could have defined our season already, because we'd have had 3 points at Everton, wouldn't have lost that game at Everton, and we would have been still in the FA Cup. It is fine margins. He's put a lot of faith, for whatever reason, in Eddie over this last month, since Eddie turned around and said that he wanted to leave on once minutes. He's put a lot of faith in him, right? And he's been, not by Eddie's fault or whatever, but Eddie's let him down with two open goal headers missed. Could have been a completely different story.
I just want to say, Arteta has made mistakes and will continue to make mistakes.
Yep.
And I've been very critical of them. Antonio Conte, in my opinion, one of the top 3 managers of the world, is playing inverted wing backs. One of them is Matt Doherty. And Spurs fans
make mistakes, exactly.
So every manager has these in him.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to say is, I asked for a cultural overhaul after the problems we had under Emery and Arsene Wenger towards those latter years as well. And I asked for a new direction for the club to go in. And yeah, the Dortmunds of this world aren't winning the title because of Bayern Munich and aren't getting maybe as far in the Champions League as they want, but they're there and they're competing because their model around youth and long-term sustainability or whatever is strong and it's well run. Now, I like what Arsenal are doing. I want them to get to that point, and then you get 2 or 3 £60 million players and you go up a level. I'm just saying, yesterday was an absolute shit show, and we've seen a few of them this year. We've seen a few of them in the 2 years under Arteta. But the players that I really back, the Sakas of this world, Martinelli, Odegaard, Smith Rowe, they keep bouncing back for him. They keep coming back and showing a character and a resilience I've not seen from Arsenal. Wenger's final Arsenal teams lose that game at Goodison and then get a couple draws in the games after that and don't play that well and kind of scramble through December until the weather gets nice and spring comes back around. They put, 8 wins on the spin and they nearly get top 4, maybe crawl into it. I've seen a difference to this young side and a maturity I've appreciated.